Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're exploring the European Union. Now, don't worry, we are not going to treat this like some dusty, boring history lesson. Instead, we're going to look at Europe as what it really is, a massive, continent-wide problem-solving project. A project that directly impacts your daily life, your future careers, and the society that you are going to help build.
Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to picture a world map in your head for a second. Why do we say a place like Finland, way up in the freezing north, is part of Europe, but a place like Tunisia, which is geographically super close to Italy, isn't? Or what about Turkey? It kind of makes you realize that Europe isn't just a basic fact of geography. It's actually a space where countries have actively decided to team up and come together.
All right, Part 1. The European Workspace, a shared environment.
Because Europe really isn't just lines drawn on a map. For you, as you prepare to enter the workforce, it is a massive shared working environment built entirely around cooperation. Think about this number, 450 million. That's how many people are in the EU club today. So when Europe sits at a table to talk about global trade, it speaks with one giant voice for 450 million people. That gives this united group incredible negotiating power. And for you? Well, it creates a gigantic, seamlessly connected workspace.
Moving on to Section 2, From War to Peace, a Peace Union.
To truly understand why this massive workspace even exists and why these countries teamed up in the first place, we got to look back at the ultimate problem the continent faced in the middle of the 20th century. Between 1870 and 1945, Europe suffered through three incredibly destructive wars. By 1945, the whole continent was just dark, divided, and literally in ruins. Leaders knew they had to hit the brakes on this cycle. They decided the absolute best way to prevent war was to connect their economies. Basically, if countries rely on each other to trade, they don't fight each other. And you know what? It worked. Today, the EU is a highly successful peace project. For 80 years, there has been no major war between its members.
So how'd they pull this off? Well, it started pretty small in the 1950s, with just 6 countries sharing coal and steel. Then came the Treaty of Rome in 1958, making general trade a whole lot easier. By '86, they pushed for this thing called a single market to allow free movement. Then in 1992, the Maastricht Treaty created the official European Union and set up the euro, the cash we use today. And finally, the club just kept expanding to welcome a bunch of new countries.
Next up, Section 3, the 4 Great Freedoms, the Single Market. This brings us to the practical benefits of all that history we just talked about. For vocational students like you getting ready to jump into the workforce, these next points are basically your golden ticket. The absolute crucial point is this definition of the single market. In simple terms, it's a shared rulebook. It rips down every possible obstacle to allow the free movement of people, goods, services, and money across all member states. It literally makes borderless trade and travel a reality.
And this brilliantly illustrates what that means for you. Imagine you learn to be an electrician down in Greece, right? Then you hear about an awesome job opening up in Finland. Guess what? You can simply relocate there, and your trade qualifications are recognized instantly. Because of the single market, it is actually easier to move your whole life and career across Europe than it is for a worker to move between regions inside some single countries like Canada. Crazy, right?
All right, let's head to Section 4, Tearing Down Walls, Building Bridges.
Let's see how this builds into an even bigger picture. This club of shared freedoms didn't just stay small. It grew, and it helped heal a deeply divided continent. I absolutely love this quote. Think back to the Cold War, when Europe was physically divided by the Berlin Wall. The EU's whole mission was the exact opposite of that wall. When it finally fell, the EU stepped up to build bridges. It helped transform former dictatorships into strong democracies. And in 2004, it welcomed a ton of countries from former Soviet control, creating a huge unified family of democracies.
Now, I'm not going to pretend the club is perfect. It's not. Europe faces very real, very heavy modern tests today. We're talking about managing migration, navigating tough economic crises, recovering from huge global health emergencies, and of course, responding to a major war right on its borders in Ukraine. These are massive, tough challenges, and they require serious, continuous teamwork to protect the peace and prosperity they've spent decades building.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, Your Place in Europe, an open-ended story.
We've talked a lot about the past and the rules of this big workspace, but this is really about your present day and your future career opportunities. The European project is a totally open-ended story. There's no final chapter written yet. It's really just a space designed to let you live peacefully, work freely, and cooperate with your neighbors. You've got the tools, you've got those 4 freedoms, and you've got this incredible shared workspace waiting for you.
So as you head out into your careers, the ultimate question is, what will you build with it? Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I really hope it gave you a crystal clear picture of the opportunities just waiting for you out there.